Welcome to the Marvelous Middle Age Podcast, where midlife meets growth, purpose, and connection. A place where midlife is not something to survive, but a season to thrive. Here, we're building a welcoming community of people who are right in the middle of life, sharing our stories, learning from one another, and discovering just how meaningful and powerful this season can be. Together, we'll explore the topics that shape midlife, relationships, transitions, health, parenting, careers, and the inner work that helps us thrive. My goal is to encourage you, uplift you, and remind you that midlife can be vibrant, meaningful, and deeply fulfilling. My hope is that you'll feel seen, supported, and inspired to live fully, grow bravely, and embrace the person you're becoming. I'm so glad you're here. Let's navigate midlife together on the Marvelous Middle Age Podcast. Welcome back to the Marvelous Middle Age Podcast. I'm your host, Nicole, and this week we're continuing our Enneagram and Relationship series, where we're exploring how each Enneagram type shows up in personal and professional relationships, and how understanding one another better can lead to deeper connection, healthier communication, and more grace for ourselves and others. I'm a certified Enneagram coach and had the honor to learn and study with Beth McCord, founder of Your Enneagram Coach. The Enneagram is about compassion, understanding, and creating healthier connections, especially in this midlife season where relationships matter deeply and energy is more precious than ever. My hope is that it brings clarity, compassion, and some very practical ways to strengthen your relationships. If you're new to the Enneagram or want to learn more, check out Season 7, Episode 1 of the podcast, where I give a more in-depth overview of the Enneagram. If you want to determine your Enneagram type, there is a link in the show notes for a free assessment you can take, which will help you to determine your type. We're continuing by focusing on the Enneagram 4, the romantic or the individualist, and specifically how 4s show up in relationships, what they need, and how we can better love and communicate with them. If you're joining me for this episode, chances are you either are an Enneagram 4, love an Enneagram 4, work with one, lead one, or maybe all of the above. At their core, type 4s are emotionally attuned, introspective, and expressive. They are meaning makers. They notice what's missing, what's broken, what's beautiful, and what's uniquely theirs. 4s often feel like they're different from others, sometimes special, sometimes defective, but always other. They tend to experience emotions deeply and vividly, and they often are drawn to creativity, art, spirituality, and authenticity. At their healthiest, 4s are empathetic and emotionally present. They're creative and expressive. They're honest and vulnerable and deeply compassionate, and they're able to sit with pain without rushing to fix it. But when 4s are struggling, 4s can withdraw emotionally, feel misunderstood or unseen, compare themselves constantly. They might romanticize pain or get stuck in longing or melancholy. Understanding a 4 starts with honoring their emotional depth, not trying to minimize it. Every Enneagram type has a core longing, a core fear, and a core desire. The Enneagram type 4s long to hear you are seen, you are understood, you belong. They want to know that who they are, not a version they perform, is enough. Their core fear is being insignificant, flawed, or having no personal identity or meaning. 4s fear being ordinary, replaceable, or emotionally invisible. And a 4's core desire is to find and express their authentic self and to be loved for it. They don't want surface level connection. They want depth, truth, and emotional resonance. In relationships, this means 4s crave emotional intimacy, meaningful conversations, validation of their inner world, and space to be truly themselves. If you look at a diagram of the Enneagram, it's a circle, and each type has another type on either side. Every Enneagram type is influenced by its neighboring numbers, known as wings. Wings are the seasoning to your type. They add dimension and more layers to your personality. So for an Enneagram 4, their wings are 3 and 5. Now you can be evenly distributed between your wings, or if you're a 4, you might lean more heavily towards the 3 wing or the 5 wing. 4s with a wing 3 are more outward facing and image conscious. They might be more driven and expressive, and they often channel emotion into achievement or creativity. And they can struggle with comparison and performance. 4s with a wing 5 are more withdrawn and introspective, private and cerebral. They're often deep thinkers and observers and can retreat emotionally when overwhelmed. Also on the diagram of an Enneagram, you may notice that each number has an arrow pointing away from it and an arrow pointing towards it. The arrow pointing away from the number is the type that a number goes to in stress. The arrow pointing towards the number is the type that the number goes to in growth. When 4s are under stress, they move towards the low side of a type 2. They become overly focused on others for validation. They might turn to people-pleasing to feel loved. They might feel unappreciated or emotionally needy and might give in hopes of being seen. This can lead to resentment when their emotional needs go unmet. In growth, 4s move towards the high side of a type 1. They gain emotional steadiness and learn discipline and follow through. They take meaningful action instead of sitting and feeling. And they ground their creativity in structure. A growing 4 learns that feelings are important, but they don't have to dictate everything. If you've been listening to this season and finding yourself thinking, that sounds like me, or that explains someone I love, I want you to know you're not alone. The Enneagram is such a powerful tool for understanding ourselves and the people around us, not so that we can label or fix one another, but so we can meet ourselves and others with more compassion, patience, and grace. As a certified Enneagram coach, I work with individuals and teams who want to grow in self-awareness, strengthen their relationships, and navigate this season of life with more clarity and confidence. Whether you're exploring your own type, working through a transition, or part of a team wanting to communicate and collaborate more effectively, Enneagram coaching creates space to slow down, reflect, and grow together. If you feel a gentle nudge to go deeper, I'd love to connect with you. You can reach out to me on Instagram at Nicole Stute or email me at themarvelousmiddleagepodcast@gmail.com. There's no pressure, just a conversation. Because understanding ourselves changes the way we show up in the world, and that matters. And with that in mind, let's jump back into this week's episode. At their healthiest, 4s are deeply relational partners and friends. They show up emotionally, and they're very good listeners. They're intuitive and empathetic companions and thoughtful and intentional partners. They're expressive and honest communicators. 4s bring depth, vulnerability, and meaning into relationships. They don't want shallow connection. They want real connection. They value emotional honesty, space to process feelings, and being invited into meaningful conversations. They want to feel chosen and cherished. 4s, when stressed or unhealthy, can struggle in relationships by withdrawing emotionally and isolating themselves. They probably will feel misunderstood and unseen. They tend to compare the relationship to an idealized version and become moody or unpredictable. They might even test relationships to see if others will pursue them. They may unintentionally communicate, "If you really loved me, you'd know what I need." This can create confusion or distance, especially with partners or leaders who communicate more directly. 4s don't want drama, they want depth without dismissal. So if you're in a relationship with a type 4, here are some things that you can do. Validate their emotions, even if you don't fully understand them. Name what you see and appreciate about them. Invite them to share without forcing them. Be patient with their emotional processing. 4s feel emotions deeply, and they need time to process those emotions. And try to stay present with them during emotional moments. That will go a long way with a type 4. Here's some things you can try to avoid in relationships with type 4. Don't minimize or rationalize their feelings. Don't say you're too sensitive or too much. Don't try to fix their emotion. Instead, listen to them. Sit with them in that emotion. And don't withdraw away from them when things get heavy. Just remember that being present is more powerful than being perfect. If you lead or work with a 4, communicate with them respectfully and have respect for their emotional intelligence. Appreciate their creativity and their insight. Share clear expectations paired with flexibility, and offer thoughtful feedback, not abrupt criticism. In the workplace, you can support them by giving them space for processing before decisions. Invite them to share their perspective and their ideas. Affirm their unique contributions and help them move from feeling to action. 4s do their best work when they feel valued, understood, and trusted. If you're a type 4 listening today, hear this. You are not too much. Your depth is a gift. And if you love a 4, your willingness to sit with their emotions is one of the greatest gifts you can offer. Relationships with 4s are rich, meaningful, and transformative when we honor both emotion and growth. Thanks for being here today. If this episode resonated, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Until next time, stay curious, stay compassionate, and keep showing up with grace. Thank you so much for being part of the Marvelous Middle Age Podcast community. I'd love for you to follow the show so new episodes land right in your feed. I'd be so grateful if you left a rating and a 5-star review on the podcast platform you listen on. It's a simple way to help others find the podcast. And if there's a topic you'd love to hear more about, I'd truly love to hear from you. You can email me at themarvelousmiddleagepodcast@gmail.com or send me a DM on Instagram at Nicole Stu. Thank you for listening, for showing up, and for choosing to thrive in this season of life.